The episode opens not with action, but with quiet devastation. Hawkins looks like a ghost town. Broken windows, ash drifting, military tents half collapsed, and missing posters everywhere. And that silence tells us something. The world isn't being attacked anymore. It's fading. The Upside Down, once alive and hostile, is now rotting. The Mind Flayer isn't spreading, it's dissolving, collapsing inward like a dying organism. This is important. The Duffers are saying the Upside Down was never just a monster realm, it was a living ecosystem held together by Vecna's consciousness, and that consciousness is failing. Then we cut to Will. His hand presses the back of his neck. It doesn't burn like before, it doesn't shock him. Instead, it aches. Not fear, grief. Because Will realizes something before anyone else. Vecna isn't hunting anymore. Vecna is trying not to disappear. That's the emotional theme of the finale. Identity, fear of irrelevance, growing up and letting go. Inside the buyer's house, the gang gathers. No jokes, no 80s music, no nostalgia, just exhaustion. Maps, coffee cups, walkies, blueprints. Hopper stands at the center, not as a hero, but as someone who is just tired of losing. Joyce listens quietly. Nancy explains the plan like a tactician. Trauma has made her sharper, colder. Mike sits silently, glancing at 11, terrified he will lose her again. And then the reveal. To finally destroy Vecna and the Mind Flayer, they can't just kill a creature. They need to collapse the Upside Down entirely, erase the dimension, rip it out at the roots. And that requires 1. A bomb, 2. Detonated inside the core of the Upside Down, 3. Stabilized by a sound frequency powerful enough to reach across realities. That's where Purple Rain comes in. Not random, not fan service. Prince is used because it starts triumphant, it ends mournful, it mirrors the emotional arc of the story. Celebration, tragedy, acceptance. And the Duffers anchor the entire climax to something human. Music equals memory. Music connects scenes. Music binds worlds. Music becomes a goodbye letter. The characters realize the cost. Once triggered, the gate collapses. Anyone inside stays inside. 11 understands immediately, long before anyone else. She doesn't panic, she doesn't scream, she just lowers her eyes. And that's when Hopper realizes this isn't a mission, it's a goodbye. The group divides, but unlike past seasons, it isn't about excitement. It feels final. Hopper and Murray, two men who have lost everything before. It makes sense narratively. Hopper lost a child, Murray lost friends and safety. They both understand sacrifice. They don't argue, they move quietly, focused, because both expect not to return. Nancy, Jonathan, Robin, Steve, Lucas, Dustin. They're not the strongest, they're not the chosen ones. They're just people who refuse to let kids die again. Nancy becomes the leader, not out of ego, but because she has seen what happens when no one leads. Jonathan supports, more calm, less jealous. Steve, the heart, finally becomes the protector he pretended to be years ago. Lucas watches Max, staying close, never letting go again. These scenes show one truth. Growing up means becoming responsible without being asked. Mike and Will stay emotionally tethered to 11. This is crucial. Mike isn't there to save her. He isn't the hero. He is her anchor, the reminder that she is loved for who she is, not what she can do. Meanwhile, Will represents the other side. He understands Vecna's loneliness, isolation, and anger. He knows darkness personally. For the first time, the show openly states, Will and Vecna share the same wound, loneliness and feeling unwanted, but they made different choices. Will chose friends, Vecna chose control. That contrast is the heart of the finale. When 11 steps into the Upside Down, the sequence isn't just scary imagery, it's a psychological descent. We revisit key places: the Rainbow Room, Brenner's experiments, childhood isolation. Henry has a scared child, bodies floating, doors slamming endlessly. The question the finale asks is, did the world create monsters, or did they choose to become monsters? Vecna isn't shown as sympathetic, but as tragic. Not evil because of powers, evil because of obsession. He wanted order, control, importance. He wanted to never feel small again, and he became a tyrant to do it. 11 finally understands she cannot defeat Vecna by overpowering him, because Vecna thrives on resistance, on hate. She wins by refusing to play his game. She chooses compassion over rage. That's why the psychic battle feels different, less explosions, more emotional truth. She tells him, "You're not a god. You're a scared boy who hurt people because you were hurting," and that truth shatters him more than power blasts ever could. Vecna screams, not in pain, but humiliation, because the thing he feared most finally happens. He becomes small again. Meanwhile, underground, Hopper activates the trigger. When Dove's Cry blasts through old speakers, the tone is adrenaline-filled, almost joyful. Demogorgons burn, tunnels crack, vines shrivel. For one glorious minute, it feels like victory. People cheer, they laugh, they run. But then, the track slows, echoes, shifts. Purple Rain. And that musical transition is deliberate. We go from escape to mourning, because 11 is still inside, and the gate is almost gone. Mike runs to the gate. Hopper grabs him. Joyce sobs. But Will is quiet. He feels her presence fading, not violently, but peacefully. "She isn't trapped," he whispers. "She's staying so the rest of us can go home." And that is the full completion of 11's character arc since Season 1. Season 1, a weapon. Season 2, a child. Season 3, a teenager. Season 4, trauma survivor. Season 5, someone who chooses sacrifice freely. She isn't forced, she isn't ordered, she isn't manipulated. She makes the adult decision: protect others at the cost of herself, not because she owes them, but because she loves them. She says goodbye silently. She remembers Hopper's smile, Joyce hugging her, Mike saying he loves her, kids around the D&D table. Then, white light, silence. The Upside Down disintegrates like ash in the wind, gone, completely. No cliffhanger, monster roar, no tease, just absence. That's powerful storytelling. 18 months later, no secret labs, no conspiracies, no FBI vans lurking, just life. Hawkins heals, stores reopen, graduations happen, people laugh again, and yet everyone is older, not physically, emotionally. Dustin gives a speech at a survivor memorial about how sometimes heroes don't live forever. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is move forward. Max walks again, slowly, symbolizing healing instead of miracle fixes. Nancy works at the Herald. Steve coaches kids, finally finding purpose. Robin teaches, nurturing others rather than hiding. Joyce and Hopper finally relax. Real smiles, not trauma smiles. But Mike is the one who can't move on fully. He returns to the basement, the sacred place where everything began. He touches the dice, not to play, but to remember. Will joins him. No resentment, no jealousy, just quiet love. They don't talk much because growing up often means accepting things we can't fix. That's when we see Holly and the younger kids taking over the table, a symbolic passing of the torch. Childhood ends, adventure ends, life continues. The last lingering mystery. Is 11 alive? The show leaves it open intentionally, not lazy, thematic. Mike imagines if she's out there, she's finally free. Not someone's experiment, not someone's weapon, just living. We don't see her. No shadow silhouette, no sudden twist, just possibility. Because the story isn't really about whether she lives, it's about whether everyone else can live without depending on her. And they finally can. That's the point. The finale isn't about monsters dying. It's about growing up, grief, letting go, accepting change, and ending stories instead of stretching them forever. The Duffers chose closure, not endless escalation. And whether people love it or hate it, it completes the emotional journey that began in 2016. Kids at a table, escaping into fantasy because the real world was scary. And now, they don't need D&D to be brave anymore. They became brave.